So I am Elaine Mission. I am currently a Marie Curie Post-doctoral Fellow at the Bioeconomy Institute of the University of Valladolid in Spain. Yes, so the intention is actually to capture these molecules that are normally just wasted or just lie around us, and to make them into platform molecules that can potentially substitute fossil-based or petroleum-based molecules, so that we can use them as a building block of like commonly used materials. So, for example, the plastics that we are using in our daily lives, or for example, lubricants for the motors and the engine. So, those are our intention, and to make these materials available without using a lot of organic chemicals. So, we are trying to replace organic synthesis with um, water-based synthesis by manipulating the properties of water. Then we can potentially extract these materials and keep their structure and their properties intact, as opposed to harsh methods. So normally in conventional systems and conventional processes, um, the core structure of the molecule is destroyed because they are carried out with strong chemicals and high temperature. But when we replace these organic chemicals with water, basically we're just dealing with H2O. And by manipulating the properties of water, they can act, or they can assume properties similar to these organic chemicals, and which allows us to carry out the processes similar to the organic synthesis. So only that we need to make use of specialized equipment that can help us accurately manipulate the properties of water in subcritical conditions, meaning above its boiling point of 100 degrees until about 373 degrees, and then under supercritical conditions, which is beyond 373 degrees Celsius. So our institute works hand in hand with the industry partners. So we are um, really trying to patent the technology, and then make sure that the technology gets developed, and that it will eventually go to like a downstream, real downstream processing, and to come up with the materials, because we are handling materials that have unique properties as well. So we will now, most of the projects are still in the developmental stage, but maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, most of these products will be out in the market, and this will give the market interesting products that cannot be made available from conventional and traditional ways, which makes this uh, process and product both environment friendly as well as economically viable. I think it's important for me in reaching my goal to have first sufficient funding. Because as I have said, most of the projects that I'm working with is still with in the upstream processing. So at this point we really need steady funding availability to finance all the characterizations, all the experiments that we need to carry out. And second, we need to have a reliable equipment, and also specialized equipment, because as I have mentioned, we are working on temperatures and pressure that is not achievable under conventional environment. We rely on the like suppliers to provide us with the spare parts for our equipment. So for example, the valves, the pumps, and the tubing that we are using, because they should be able to support and withstand high pressure and high temperature. Another important thing is the availability of the analytical method and analytical equipment to support our claims. Because we are working with natural biopolymers, we need to have an assurance that what we are actually capturing from the method that we have developed is the exact biopolymer that we are reporting. And we have to prove that the properties of these materials are indeed at par as how we have envisioned them, and the properties are intact, so that we can actually move them to the next processing stage, because one step is to capture them, and another step is to manipulate them into, or combine them, or react them with another material, so that we can come up with a product that is market ready. And lastly, we need also reliable materials and laboratory supplies. So it is impossible for us to carry out our characterization if we don't have the necessary tubes, containers that could handle these materials and preserve their properties, or their phase prior to their analysis. It's also important for us to have the small things, from the pipette tips until the vials that we are using, because if we run out of these small things, we are not able to proceed to the next step. So sometimes these are major things that are overlooked, but actually they can be a point of source of contamination. So it's also very important for us to make these small things available in the laboratory. Our institute is actually an interdisciplinary institute. We have, majority of us are chemical engineers, although we have some people who specialize in materials, some people who specialize on chemistry, organic reactions. So it's nice to have these people available for consultation or for discussion. Another important thing in our group is that we are actually um, we have multiple nationalities in our group. So I'm working with Serbian, Albanian, Spaniards, and I am Filipino. And then we also have Czech, Brazilian, Argentinian. So this kind of group makes it a fun environment to work with. Every single day there's a non-repetitive day. So it's not a monotonous type of job to come to the lab and work with them every single day, because the dynamics is different in each day. Majority of us are women, so a big chunk of the group is consists of the female gender, which makes it more comfortable to work, because women are not suppressed in that kind of environment, and it's just give us that platform to be to feel that we are welcome in this kind of work, since we are in the chemical engineering field. And the majority of the people that I'm working with is not so young. They're in their late 20s or early 30s, which also makes a more mature group for both for discussion about the project and also with the personal life. So it's an enriching experience to be able to work in this kind of environment. I have never thought of working in science when I was young. So a backstory, just a quick backstory. I never excelled in the usual indicators when I was young. So I don't have good grades in math back in elementary and in science. So I felt like my future is bleak. And even my parents are thinking the same way. But I met a very good teacher in high school. He's a math teacher. He's my math teacher. And I don't know what he saw in me, and he just encouraged me to join. The beginning, it was just like mathematics quiz B. And then from there, I realized I can actually do maths. And from maths, it further branched out into sciences. After that, I gained the confidence to check out on the STEM field, and I felt like, okay, I want to be a chemical engineer. The opportunity to actually do something that some people never endeavored to pursue. I'm always saying this is like walking the uncharted territories, and some people might be scared to do it, but I found the guts to do it. So yeah, and it's kind of rewarding as well to see most of the things that people don't see. So to be able to see those molecules in the flask at the moment you get them extracted in their pristine condition, in their original color, it's just kind of fascinating to see them before other people. So what I like doing the most is actually when I get to analyze the material itself, because I feel like, okay, I'm already holding something that is tangible, that could have economical viability, and at the same time it's the only material out in the world at that moment that is available for you to explore, to characterize, to hold it basically in your hand. So that is, I think, one of the best thing for me, and to be able to piece in together the properties. There's no direct analysis for the polymers at the moment, so we just have to take different analysis and piece them together, and then when everything gets pieced together and like a building it like a jigsaw puzzle, and you see that, okay, everything points out towards that direction, and everything confirms that it's actually the biopolymer that you want, then so it was just really amazing. So what I don't really like the most about this job is the trivial matters. So first, at the end of the day, we are in charge of cleaning our materials, and sometimes when you're past already that stage that you're already so happy, of course the energy dies down, the excitement dies down, and you have to face like a basin full of small vials and small materials that you need to wash at the end of the day. Yeah, but we have to do it again because of we don't want cross contamination or introduction of foreign materials with our materials, and we cannot really waste a lot of things. We don't want to incur a lot of solid waste at the end of the day. So we try to wash and clean and reuse most of the materials. But yeah, sometimes it's just so tiring. It takes a lot of time and some effort also on our part to do it. The part of the job that I always have to bring back home to me or with me, because majority of my day I spend in the lab doing the experiments and the analysis, I have to do the reading material, the reading part or the writing part at home. So, but it also gives me the flexibility to spend time with my kids and with my husband. I think a big chunk of my future career will be devoted to teaching and educating the students, maybe around 60%, and do 40% of research, as opposed to now that I am doing 90% research work and 10% teaching. And I also want to be able to do more projects that basically encompasses like green chemistry and engineering, and to develop this kind of platform. I'm really advocating this type of processes, although it's a little bit capital intensive at the beginning, but I think that this will really be a promising technology in the future. We just need more, maybe brains and more hands to help us and put it out in the market, because there's not a lot of pilot scale or really commercial level for this kind of production. So I hope in the next 5 to 10 years I'd be able to work on it, and at the same time enjoy educating the future chemical engineers. My scientific project is about biomass conversion involving high pressure processes. So specifically, I am working on the deconstruction, depolymerization, extraction, and the hydrolysis of natural biopolymers found in trees and barks, such as cellulose, lignin, suberin, and fucoidan, and basically to capture their building blocks building block monomers in order to convert them into biobased and other value added products. So the usual products that come out from this transformation, basically we have the fermentable sugars such as glucose and then fructose. And for lignin, we have the aromatics. And then for suberin, we have the fatty acids, which can then be converted into, let's say, bioplastic precursors, or for fuel production in like a bioethanol synthesis plant. And normally we use hydrolysis using supercritical and subcritical water to capture these monomers from the biomass. I applied for this Eppendorf community because I wanted to make science closer to the people. I felt like science is like out of reach for common people, just as I have experienced. Because I'm a first generation, so I have encountered a lot of opposition from family, from friends. Many people are doubting, can you really have a career out of that? Or do you think that you will really make a significant contribution to science with, with your meager skills and your qualities? You're not you're not a genius. You're just above average. So how are you going to, pursue science if you're not on that level? So I feel like this is a wrong notion, and I would like to be able to help clarify that. And I think Eppendorf community is doing a great job in making science more accessible to people, giving science the face that it deserves. Like anybody can be a scientist, anybody can pursue STEM. It doesn't really matter whether you now have the skills, but if you're just willing to develop the skills, then it will go a long way. That's my primary reason. And the second one is I would like to represent above average people in science, because I think what I really think is that science is not for the intelligent and for the smart. It's really for the hardworking and the passionate, because you don't get results overnight. It's not enough that you have intelligence per se. You really have to get your hands dirty, really immerse yourself into the field in order to really get out something of it and make it beneficial for the people. And I would like to represent also middle-aged women, mothers, and those who are raising young kids, because most of the time women gets to abandon their career and to choose their family. But I always try to challenge the norm and say, why can't I have both? Why can't I be a scientist, pursue this kind of job, and at the same time raising girls who may or may not go into STEM, but at least I get to balance the personal life. So I hope that through the Eppendorf community, I will be able to share my passion, not only in science, but also in advocating for STEM, for the young people, and for them to get an idea that scientists, researchers, they are human beings too. They have a personal life, and that we can both enjoy our career and our personal life as well.